Hey guys, it's Vince. Today in this video we're going to be dispelling some CNC myths. I keep getting questions constantly on will this motor work with my system? Is this chassis too heavy for this type of motor? Can I go 300? Can I go 600 ounce? Hopefully this video is going to really enlighten you guys on what I'm talking about when I keep preaching about a professional level machine. Case in point, the video I'm going to cover was sent to me by a client of mine. His name is Tom, and Tom is a unique individual in that he fabricated his own chassis. This chassis is immense. And when I say it's immense, this is a typical pro-grade system that was built mainly because he had a specific use, a specific product in mind that he was going to be working with. And he decided to go about, building the chassis himself. He's obviously a very talented guy. He's very mechanically oriented. And again, when I tell you guys, when you're looking at building your own system, I want you guys to think like a professional. Now, Tom comes from a background that he really understands how one of these tables should be made because he's worked with another router. He's gotten a lot of experience, and he decided to fabricate his own. And again, his background supports taking on a project of this caliber. If your knowledge does not, I highly recommend you purchasing a system, and I've said this in previous videos. However, I keep getting questions on this that people are building their own chassis, and if you have no experience with this type of equipment and you're looking at doing something at a professional level eventually, I highly recommend you purchasing a chassis, whether it be even from China. I mean, I get that all the time. Are the Chinese chassis okay? The Chinese chassis are fine. It's the electronics that you have to worry about. Okay, so if you're buying a chassis, the main thing is finding one that fits your budget, but buy one that is at least at a pro grade level. Stay away from wood, stay away from acrylic. You want aluminum or you want steel. Needless to say, this chassis is made out of aluminum and steel. It's a massive design. It's 16 foot long. His gantry is 100 inches wide. He does support the gantry with two 600 ounce steppers. Now guys, my 600 ounce steppers are used on this entire chassis. When he contacted me, I went over and we discussed what we could build to support his need. And he wanted a rotary axis, which you can see the tailstock right here. And the tailstock is on a slide system, so again he can adjust the amount of space he wants to use the tailstock with. Again, excellent design, and once again he does have a steel chassis, so again when he slides that back, he doesn't have to worry about how rigid the system is. This is an extremely rigid chassis. I would say, and I'm not certain on this, I'll have to get with him, but I would say this chassis weighs probably close to a ton. Okay, with everything that it's made out of, the base, as we go over the video and you watch and you see the base, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But the interesting thing, and I want to state this before I play the video, and I'm going to get with it real quick, is the fact that he is using my 6-axis system, using Gecko Drive's G251x drivers, which are the same drivers inside a Gecko G540, and he is running it, or running this system to power his 600 ounce steppers, which again are totally available from me in my store. I mean, nothing special here. And he is running this size system with that. So it has nothing to do with will it run your system. It's a question of how the system is designed to get optimal performance. So I'm going to hit play here, and you guys will watch the whole video. We'll cover some topics after it's done. Okay, guys, if they say that old saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words, there's a lot of words to be said about what you guys just saw. Mainly, and just discussing one component at a time, this is a Tormach rotary axis. Tormach rotary axis actually has a gear ratioed system. Tom wanted to use symmetry throughout the unit, so we went with my steppers. He's using a 600-ounce stepper of mine, and again, we just dismounted the Tormach stepper. He bolted mine right up to the design, and he's set to go. The Tormach version of the stepper that comes with this, I believe, is like 300 ounce. I believe it's three or maybe 4. We went with the 600 ounce to give him the ability to machine virtually the length of the table. He wanted to have that ability, and he knew with that kind of torque available, he was basically able to do what he wanted to do. That being said, I'm going to just kind of move the cursor around and let you guys see, and we can discuss each thing. You got the Tormach tailstock, again, totally adjustable on the slide system. Very, very nice design. Lets him use, again, the full length of the table. You saw the design of the table in that, again, you're looking at a steel frame. That board, I'm guessing, is probably 1 inch to 2 inches in thickness, the spoil board. He's actually surfacing it in the video. I'm going to keep going back here. Again, the size of the shop that this system is in, just to let you guys know, it's virtually pretty massive in the sense that just to try to cool a location like this is, I mean, definitely pro grade level. You can see here, coming off of the gantry and dealing with dust collection is done professionally. He's also got conduit here. Everything here is set over the machine, nice and clean, so there is no wires that can get in the way of pinched. Again, you can see how it comes over the rafter. Everything is done, I mean, very clean. He's got the monitor right here with Mach 3 running. I'm just going to keep going. Matter of fact, you can even see he mounted the VFD on the X-axis, and that was something that we discussed. And I had never seen it done. He asked me if it was possible. I said yes. He's using, of course, my spindle cable. All of the electronics on this system is from me, guys. Okay, so anything you buy in my store, you can see right now being used on this type of system. So if you guys have them bench models, the models 60, 40, 30, 20, any of the Chinese grade chassis, smaller chassis, Shapikos, I've seen everything. You don't have to worry about what your system is capable of, especially after seeing this video. Another really cool setup here is this coolant system. You can see right here how he has that set up. This is totally pro grade, guys. He's ready to mill wood. He's ready to mill aluminum. He's ready to mill steel. 2.2 kil spindle at 3 horsepower. Again, the way this is set up, he would never have problems as far as rigidity. I mean, the precision of this system is just astounding with the formula of materials he's used. Again, you can see rack and pinion is used throughout. This is definitely not a novice grade system, guys. This is from an individual who knows and understands mechanics. And again, I get questioned on this a lot. I'm just going to scroll back here real slow, see if I can come up a little bit. Right here is my solderless connector, and you can see how the cable plugs in, runs right over here. This bolts to the actual chassis out of the way. Never getting in the way, never no wires getting pinched. I get questioned all the time, how do I mount these to my chassis? Now you guys can see how he mounted this. That is the correct way to mount these to your chassis. You can see there's no wires in the way. Everything is bound tight as it should be. And again, if he needs to manipulate anything, the terminal block is right there. You can manipulate and have your motors dismounted in a minute. Again, there's the motor itself. You can see it down here. I know it's kind of dark, but I'll see if I can scroll back. There we go. And you can see exactly how he's got the motor bolted up to the transmission. I mean, this is without a doubt one of the best looking systems I've seen. And not because he's a client of mine, but literally one of the best homemade systems I've ever seen. Just panning around now, letting you guys see everything. And again, look, just get a feel for that. Look at the size of this chassis. Absolutely astounding. I mean, the ability of what he's able to machine is just crazy. Again, you can see he didn't cut corners on his cable chain. He went with the proper width for what he's running through it. Spoil board, again, proper width with what he's planning on doing. He is surfacing the table, so he has nice smooth tramming. And again, the tailstock track, you can see it goes all the way to the end, and again, supported on the table the way it's sectional. He's ready to go. Again, let's see if we can, there we go. You can see here, another motor, all aluminum bracketry, everything here solid, rigid. I mean, you really couldn't ask for more as far as a more professional system being more rigid. I mean, this I'll put up against any Bridgeport I've seen as far as of industrial quality. Absolutely amazing. Again, look at the size of that cable chain. All done properly. You can see how the cable chain is sitting on the inside groove, totally out of the way. It doesn't take up space. All wires, tubes, he's got it all mounted the way it should be. And again, you could see the thickness of that aluminum. Socket caps used all the way throughout, engaged in the transmission. Again, he has spring tensioners here to give the proper engagement. So pressure is put on the engagement for the track, for the rack and pinion correctly. Again, a lot of guys don't realize all the accessories that go into a proper rack and pinion system. When you're talking about smooth, it doesn't get much smoother than this. And you can see how he's got the spring there set up so that that spring correlates the proper amount of force to make sure that that drive is engaged properly and evenly. And again, this is another great picture to see how a solderless should be mounted to your chassis. Or similar, again, everybody's chassis is slightly different, but you use the bracket to actually mount it to the chassis. I prefer 2 screws. I don't know, it looks like he has 2 right there at the end, which I believe he does. Really, there's not much pressure on these, but again, how it holds everything out of the way, all motor wires are properly tied, he's set to go. Very, very nice setup. Again, guys, Z-axis. Z-axis comes from CNC router parts. This component right here, I believe, is $600 or $800. Very expensive Z, one of the smoothest ones you'll find. Tom wanted that explicitly because of what he was working with, and he asked my recommendation, and I definitely gave him the okay with that. CNC router parts does make some really, really nice chassis. They're not the cheapest, but if you're looking for pro grade, if you're doing a machine like this, it was without question. Tom did not cut any corners. He did this correct all the way through and through. Once again, the spindle setup, that's all my equipment. Again, we do have dust collection properly done. We do have cooling. Everything here, totally pro grade. He'll be able to machine virtually any substrate he wants. Now the big thing I really want to go over again, look at the aluminum. I don't know how thick this is, but again, you can see just by visual transparency of using this and just looking at it, I can honestly tell you with the socket head caps, everything the way it's milled and machined, he just did an incredible job to make sure that this unit is extremely rigid. Got our awesome compressor. Got our controller. So that pretty much sums it up, guys. One of the things also, he is using a UC100. I don't know if you can see that. It's right here. We discussed going USB. He was adamant about it. I was too, because I know he was coming from a platform that required a DB25. You could see the blue light on it, as a matter of fact. And he's very happy. He loves it. Once again, Definitely streamlines the whole setup of the system. Being able to use virtually any Windows operating system, it's just amazing. Again, here's your full rotary, and you can see just how, just the actual gravity of what the size difference is that you can do on this table. It's just amazing. Any type of three-dimensional machining Tom plans on doing with that rotary, he'll definitely have the ability to do it. And again, you can definitely see now the BFD at this angle. It looks really, how it's set up. You can just see how clean and neat it is. And he's set. Because we discussed a lot, it was really interesting. We discussed a lot about how much weight would be on here. We went with the 1200 ounce, and really what we did was just use the 600 ounce on each side. And it's amazing how many questions I get asked about the 600 ounce motors. Are they enough? Tom and I went over it. I told him we could go pro grade drivers, but he said, speed wasn't the most important thing. And I can't emphasize that enough, guys. If you're not really going for production speed, you really can get by with a lot. And that's where this system came to be. I mean, his electronics, he's still using Gecko Pro grade drivers in the sense that the precision is there with the digital steppers using micro stepping that are from the G540. So you're still going to get the same precision overall, or virtually thereof, let's put it that way, especially for tolerances when he's dealing with wood, or that's what his typical substrate he'll be working with is. So for him to go to pro grade drives, it just really didn't make sense. And he saved himself thousands of dollars not having to do that. We went with the 6-axis system. I mean, a 6-axis pro grade driver system would be probably in excess of $5,000 by the time everything is said and done, and all the accessories you're buying with it. And again, you have to wire every drive. There's a lot more intricacies when you start jumping up to really get the bang for your buck. If you're a person that's looking at the Gecko pro grade drives, hopefully this video has enlightened you as to what the capability is when you use the right chassis. And after we discussed it, and we discussed about machining options as far as speed, Tom said to me, and I hear this a lot, I don't care so much about speed, I care about precision. I really want to make sure that I'll be able to machine what I want to machine and get the job done properly. And again, he came from a router, the smaller router he was working with was running on 24 volts. We jumped him up to 48, which for most guys, if you guys are running 24 and you go up another up to 48 volts, you're getting a 50% increase in speed. Now on a monster like this, that's not going to be nearly as noticeable. But then again, are you going to need that kind of speed? Because remember that always, if you're paying for something and you really don't need it, you're paying for something that really doesn't make a lot of sense. And here's another key point. If there ever is a time that Tom decides, well, you know what, I want to go pro grade drivers on this only because I need more speed, because my production runs have gotten to where they really could support faster movement, then we could always build him a driver set when he's ready to do that. So actually he still gets perfect machining, he still has the size chassis he wants to use, and he's doing the smartest thing a business owner can do in the sense that he realized, overbuilding on that aspect where I'm paying more but I'm not using it all to its full capability right now means you're just putting money on the shelf. Get all you can out of it, work it up, make your money. Once you make your money, you're always ready to upgrade. And best of all, you've got a Gecko system already, which means he can do one of two things. Tom already told me he wants to do a plasma system next. Of course, we'll be working on that. And then on top of that, if he ever wanted to move up to pro grade, he could either take the driver set that he has now, switch it out, use the 6-axis on the plasma, go up to pro grade, or just stay with it and we go with a G540 for the plasma. It overall, what I'm trying to make you guys see is that whole image online where everybody is discussing what you need to run your system, a lot of it is misconception. Okay, you need to run your system with precision first, speed second, and always think in terms of upgrade performance. Meaning, can you upgrade if you choose to, and is it viable to upgrade for your application? If you're not profiting and you're looking at starting a business, you want to start profiting before you ever think about upgrading. You want precision, and you want to be able to move and function as a CNC should. Once you get past that, you can upgrade the robot any way you like. And that's what, again, Tom listened, and now you guys can see exactly what's capable. And again, all the electronics is mine, right from the spindle cable, everything I sell is pro-graded. Now you can see the type of systems that are supported with that kind of equipment when you do it right and you're running a chassis, again, that you took your time designing. He implemented, I don't know how many hours he spent designing this, but I can tell you right now, this is not a weekend project. This is definitely a man that understands, again, what has to go into the mechanics of the chassis. There's definitely a higher dollar ratio here of the investment, but I can honestly tell you, if you were to buy this chassis somewhere else and not build it, I can easily tell you this would be over probably $50,000. At the size it is, with the capability it has, especially with a 6-axis controller, very, very few chassis require 6-axis. Tom himself needed 5, mainly because he was going to run the rotary axis and he had tandem motors again for the gantry. But overall, if you think about it, the 6-axis, I mean, we were at the point, we discussed it, and he's like, you know what, for the extra bucks, I'm just going to go to 6-axis and have it available when I need it. And we talked about doing different things with it, but overall, he has that availability to go and, manipulate the system as you go. But overall, this system, once again, is a true defining moment of what is possible with, again, proper design on the chassis, and then what you can do with economical electronics. And when I say economical, guys, I didn't cut corners on the electronics, but I want you guys to pay really close attention in the fact that the Gecko, even from Gecko themselves, is rated as a hobby drive, which I find amazing because you've seen the size of this table, and it really goes to show it's only a hobby drive if you don't understand the capability of what you're working with. That drive, again, put on a table of this capacity, you virtually can mill anything you want. Is it going to be as fast as a 72-volt pro-grade system? Of course not. But your budget is going to reflect that as well. You're still going to have the precision. If you want to move up, you can. But best of all, this is the capability. Now, on the reverse end of the spectrum, if you guys have a small grade table, again, smaller than this, of course, if you have a bench-size system, the Gecko is the monster for a system of that size. The Gecko is ideally rated according to Gecko and most other sites that you'll read online, and again, this is where it gets antsy. You'll read, 4-foot table, maybe a 5-foot table. I've seen the Gecko system. Again, this is the largest system I've ever seen run with the G540 myself personally. But I can tell you right now, if you're building the mechanics properly, which again Tom did, he went rack and pinion, and on a system this size, it really benefits from it. Even though I'm not a big tandem motor fan, on a system this size, you have no choice because again, it's just so massive, you have to balance your loads. This is, number one, an advanced system, but overall, it really goes to show just how smooth you can get that chassis to be. And I don't even know what the gantry weighs. I would say probably 300 to 500 pounds. And when you really break down the math, he's doing that with 1,200-ounce steppers, and you're not even breaking a sweat, guys. Okay, really, he's doing 600-ounce on each side, total 1,200-ounce. Break down the math. I mean, if you break down the math on that, it's absolutely astounding. And the precision of the system, I mean, it's smooth as glass. You've seen it as it was surfacing. We talked about it. He's very, very happy. And again, he's got the setup that really appreciates it. And hopefully you guys will learn that we've eliminated a lot of the myths. Are 300-ounce motors strong enough? Are 600-ounce strong enough to mill aluminum? Of course. Of course. You're looking at a table once again. I'm guessing here. I'm being honest. You saw the size of this. You saw what it's made out of. I'm easily saying that this table is a ton. Okay, now with all of the metal we're dealing with, how much actual resistance the motors are incurring, let's put it this way. If the gantry right there is roughly 300 to 500 pounds and he's moving that like a toy, I'm telling you right now, it's really based on the frictional aspects of what we're working with. And overall, 600-ounce steppers are very, very strong. Okay, especially in a tandem motor format, it's retarded strong. So again, keep that in mind as you're really looking at systems and designing them. Again, the budget here, we stayed in budget. We did what he wanted to do. Matter of fact, we're still working. I'm going to do another spindle cable for him. I want to extend it for him. One of the plugs gave him a hard time. We're going to do that. But overall, you can definitely see here what can be done. Again, thinking like a professional and you know, really just dissecting it step by step to make sure that you get a quality product. You know, the next thing I want to discuss with you guys, and I'm just going to make this short and sweet. If you message me and you want to put together a system, you know, I know you guys, everybody is different in their knowledge base. I do this every day. One of the things I get asked all the time is put me a package together. Then I quote you the package, and then I get told, well, you know what, break down the package. Well, guys, if you buy a package, okay, the package in the fact that you're buying it in with everything inclusive, you're always going to save money, because if you were paying individual component prices, then you're going to do a la carte things, which my competitors do. If you go on their sites, that's what they do. They'll sit there and sell you each piece a la carte, and then you're going to pay the shipping price. And when you break it down, then you see the total. If you do the math of what I've done, I've already done the math because I do this every single day. I do it with Fortune 500s, I do it with personal individuals, and I'm telling you now, whether you're a single client or a Fortune 500 company, when I give you a quote, and it's usually someone who is totally novice to this, they're just getting involved, they're trying to, you know, count every penny, and I totally respect that. If I give you a quote, you can rest assured I'm doing it at a discount, because if you break down the number of products that you're getting when you're actually getting the quote and divide that by the actual total, you will find out exactly how much you're paying. I'll have guys say to me, well, you know what, you're giving me 18 items and you want $1,900 or whatever the total is, and it's like $115 a component. Well, motor cables aren't that expensive. No, you're right, but the Gecko isn't that expensive either. So when you total up the math on the higher dollar items and break it down, you're saving a fortune, because when you break it down from the competitors that are paying a la carte prices, you're paying them to keep their inventory full of a lot of crap that half of them don't sell. They're hoping that if they carry 150,000 items in stock, something will sell. I don't do that. I don't sell for direct flip. I sell what I know works. And again, the quality behind what I sell, the reason there's a lead time when you guys place an order, most of you already know it, it's because I'm building each system myself. There is nobody else. I do that intentionally, not for growth, because if I wanted to grow, I can hire people immediately and grow. I do it because I protect my well-being knowing yours is protected. And that's the way a business should be run. Unfortunately, in the US, that's not what we typically see. Everybody wants to grow, and then quality suffers. I'm not looking at that. I would rather build slow and know that you get products that work and work correctly, as you just saw, than do it to where I'm growing at such a high rate that, oh, well, it doesn't matter how this system turned out because, you know, I've got 10 more orders behind that. That's not what I'm looking at. So please keep that in mind. When you message me, there's a lot going into the quotes. A lot of things that are not factored in. And here's something else, and I really wanted to touch base on this as well, is support. These videos, where they're free for you, they're not free for me, because my time is just as valuable as yours. I'm doing these videos to educate. I'm doing these videos because I truly care about this and have a passion for it, because I know this is the wave of the future. I already know that within the next 10 years, we will see more personal manufacturing than we've ever seen before. And the main reason that that will occur is because there is no longer a need for true brick and mortar businesses unless it's a service that requires a destination. If you go to a car mechanic, that's different. If you go to get your hair cut, that's different. Doctors, that's different. Most services now, you don't require brick and mortar anymore, guys. A lot of services are doing away with it completely. Imagine if you get to the point where we're right around the corner right now, where you can manufacture your own components, whether, you know, that be for business or personal use. That's where we're at. So again, when you're weighing everything together, take that into consideration as we go through with these videos and I discuss everything I do. I know some people watch them to the end, some people don't. That's totally up to the end user. I try to cover in detail in every video and make things as explicit as possible. But I get a lot of questions, I get a lot of redundant questions, and I try to cover them in the videos so that you guys really grasp what I'm dealing with as an engineer. You know, again, knowledge base is different across the board. I'm not trying to fill your heads with fluff. I don't sit here to, you know, I don't do the videos to make you guys laugh. I'm doing them because they're educational, and you will learn something if you put your mind to it and really try to sit down and, you know, use the aptitude that we all have, and you'll get somewhere. I mean, essentially, that's where it's going. So again, I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. I hope now this has really dispelled a lot of CNC myths about motor size, what table you can run. You know, the Gecko is not capable of this. I've heard this numerous times. It's BS. A lot of it is straight up BS, and this video confirms just how much BS is out there. If you guys have a question, you want a factual answer, I'll do my best to answer it. If I don't know, I'll tell you that. And I request that you guys do your homework prior to making any selection on any component, be it mine or anyone else's. The one thing I will tell you, and I ask of you all to do, is make sure you get the proper support that you should get when you're purchasing before and after. And the easiest way, I know some guys say, well, I won't know if I'm going to get it after until I buy from them. That's true to a point. But get in touch with the person you're looking at actually purchasing from, whatever dealer that may be, and see how well they are to give you a call back, how fast they get your emails back. Guys, I'm telling you right now, Tom can tell you, and I mean, honestly, he will tell you. I mean, most of my clients will all tell you. I mean, I really don't know of any that it hasn't had happen where I get messaged on a Sunday night and they get a message back. You know, you're not going to wait with me. I try not to do that. So keep that in mind too when you're going through and you're trying to learn. It's all about communication. It's all about understanding where you're at, what level you're at, and we go from there. Because the more I know about what you plan on doing with your applications, the more I can design for you. So once again, I thank you for your time. I hope this video has been educational. I plan on doing quite a bit more. And again, I hope this video, if you do have any questions about it, don't be afraid to ask. Once again, my name is Vince. My store is eDealers Direct on eBay. If you require anything, if you're looking for a system or you need a custom system done, don't be afraid of messaging me. We'll get it taken care of. Thank you. Take care.